Okay, guys, here we are again. We're going live with my friend and associate, Jessica Cecere. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it properly. She's going to correct me. And Jessica, which is also my daughter's name, is going on right now.
Hi, Mike.
How are you today?
I'm good. So far, so good. It's chilly out today.
Oh, I know. It's funny because I've been complaining also, but I think we're both in Boca where it's still 40 degrees warmer than the rest of the country.
Right. Absolutely. No complaints here.
It's a good day to work inside, though.
Yeah, it is a good day to work inside.
I really appreciate you joining me.
Sure. Love it.
Looks like you have a very busy office and I have a very plain office.
I know. Usually I hide it with the background, but it's all good.
I hide it. There's actually a huge junk pile just off to the side of the camera, but
can't see it.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I've been practicing this live stream for a while, so I have my little scheme worked out to hide the garbage.
That's a good idea.
So anyway, thanks again for joining me, and you look wonderful and appreciate everything.
I'm so happy to be here. Nice to see you too.
Yes, after COVID's over, we have to meet at a bagel place or something.
That would be great.
So, what I like to do with all my guests is just start from the beginning, like where you're from, what your family did, and then sort of your business and charity background, and then bring us to today and the future. And I'll let you, and I'll ask questions later.
All right, cool. All right, so I'm a native Floridian, Mike. I have, lived here all my life, other than I went to college in Tallahassee, and that's definitely not South Florida. So, but I'm originally from Broward County, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Grew up there, on the water back when it was not very crowded, and it was awesome. Great place to grow up. My father was a developer there, so built lots of things around the Fort Lauderdale area while I was growing up. He started in the 50s. And I was born in the 60s. So that was awesome. It was a great time to be from that area. It really was. I mean, it's not a bad place now. I still own a business there with my family. It's not part of my day-to-day routine. As you know, I'm in the nonprofit sector. But we still own that business there in Fort Lauderdale. It's a warehouse and storage company, Florinata Warehouse and Storage. So for anybody listening, it's a great place to go and store your stuff. I was in Fort Lauderdale and graduated from Fort Lauderdale High School and went off to college at FSU. And when I returned, I went to work in the nonprofit sector. And I have been working in the nonprofit sector for 30 plus years. And I have been in the C-suite executive role for 27 of those years. So I was really a young executive director. At 26 years old, I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew I needed to grow up pretty quickly if I was going to be in that chair. And it was different. It was definitely different back then, Mike. It was definitely a male-dominated industry, which now it's kind of the reverse of that. It's very female-dominated industry in the nonprofit sector at this point. Not to say that there aren't men, but it's definitely female-dominated for sure.
Were you originally discriminated against?
I don't know that I was discriminated against, but it was just a different world in the, in the 80s for sure. And I worked in the credit counseling space, housing counseling, HUD organization, that kind of thing. So when I worked in the financial industry, which were our biggest supporters at that time, that was very male dominated, and it was just different. Can I say?
Can I go back to the beginning and ask you a couple of questions, and then we'll catch back up? I just wanted to mention that my grandfather had his boat at Pier 66 when I was growing up. So I was in Fort Lauderdale since I was born, basically, in this region also.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I come from a family of boaters. My dad was he built boats too. He built homes, he built businesses, he built boats.
Yeah.
That was a passion of his for sure.
So my grandfather was in the Navy and was super into boats, and he was also a builder. In Florida, and a builder other places, and a lawyer also. So we had a little bit in common in that respect.
We do. We sure do. That's awesome.
And your family's business, I typed in the chat, but I might have spelled it wrong. Florinado?
Yeah, Florinada, Floranada. I've never spelled it out loud, so I'm thinking that might be right.
Okay. Well, in any event, you can post anything you want on my wall that if you want anybody to see anything. I'm trying to post a few things while we chat, but I don't want to interrupt you too much.
No, not at all. And ask me anything you want to.
So again, you're definitely a total Florida girl. You're born in Florida. You went to school in Florida, even though it may be Tallahassee, it's still Florida.
Sure is.
And you went back in Florida and you're doing charity work in Florida. I'm doing charity work in Florida as well. So super appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a great place to be, and especially today because it's not snowing.
Yeah, a lot of people are moving down here. I'm getting these random messages from my friends from DC and New York, like, "Oh, I'm in Boca at some like Airbnb or whatever." Like, don't know what to do with their lives. They're like semi-retired, you know.
You're right, because a lot of people. I think we're going to see more and more people. You know, right now, New York is still shut down, so people are here.
I want to ask you about charity stuff, but before that, you also do business stuff also, or you just do charity stuff?
Well, no, I mean, I just own that business with my family. I don't run it. I don't work there. I certainly wouldn't have time if I did.
So you're a shareholder there, but your work is all the charity work, which is called nonprofits work. Nonprofits First is your full-time job.
Yes, it is.
And your title is president, I think, right? Or
yeah, it's like chief executive officer.
CEO, but historically, people always called themselves executive director. So you changed that around?
Yeah, we definitely changed that around. I think that position has always been the chief executive officer at Nonprofits First, but you'll see, you know, more and more nonprofits going the route of chief executive officer because, you know, it's charity work, it's nonprofit work, but you need to run it like a business.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's a good title, but just for the audience's edification, you're a 501c3 charity that helps other charities.
That is exactly correct. We are a 501c3.
And my previous organization, grassroots.org, was a 501c3 that helped other 501c3s also.
Yes, I love when you and I first met, I checked that out and I think that's awesome. These organizations are around the country. They're called different things, but I call them nonprofit management support organizations, or NMSOs, where our goal, our mission at Nonprofits First is empowering nonprofit excellence. And that's what we want to see. We want to see nonprofits be the very best that they can be. And it depends, on what stage they're at, Mike. If they're a brand new grassroots organization, they look very different than the Girl Scouts, say, but they're all doing amazing work. And it's the most fun job because of that. I ran another nonprofit and I was there 25 years, helping people with financial literacy and debt challenges. And of course, I worked there during the housing fallout in the United States. And at that point, we were a 24/7 operation in all 50 states. So it was a lot. It was a lot. So this is fun for me. Nonprofits First is fun for me to be able to work with all these different nonprofits and see the great work they do. And we have so many that work with us, and they're not all just health and human services. They're animal rescues, they're environmental organizations, they're arts and culture organizations. So that's, our community would not look the way it does if we did not have all of these organizations doing amazing work and adding to the value of our lives.
So how many, do you have members of it, or they're just people?
We do. We are a membership organization. We are an accrediting organization. We accredit the nonprofit industry for those that want to seek accreditation. So, in any given month, we may work with somewhere around 200 or 250 different organizations. We have about 230 paying members, and organizations that are members of Nonprofits First enjoy lots of benefits like free professional development and resources and those kinds of things. And I think it's relatively inexpensive. It's based on line 12 of the 990. So if you're a small organization, let's say under $250,000, you're only going to pay $150 a year, and the education that you receive is it far outweighs what that costs. So it's very affordable, and that's the point. We want to make it affordable, and then it just kind of helps us defray our costs.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. But you're saying like there's 250 sign up each month, and 230 of them are paying members?
Yeah. So we, in other words, we've got a lot of nonprofits that just go to our website and want to take a class or a course. We usually have about anywhere from 3 to 10 a week. And so if they don't want to be a paying member, they just want to check us out and see what the classes are like. They're very inexpensive, somewhere in the $20 range. And it depends, if you're going to get a certification and it's an all-day class, it's going to be more expensive than that. So it's always worth being a member because there's a discount for anything that costs money. And then we do, like I said, about 5 free classes a week for all of our nonprofit members. So.
Right. So take somebody like me who wants to donate to a charity in South Florida, just as a case study.
Sure.
And keep in mind, there's 1 million people or however many in the United States that give to charity or want to give to charity. And there's all this negative energy due to frauds in the charity world and just people putting bad information into the system. So it prevents people from either donating anything or donating enough. And more importantly, where to donate, where's the most targeted spaces that it won't be wasted, ripped off, whatever, for their charity dollars. So give us some enlightenment into that situation.
So, I always tell people, if you're donating in Palm Beach County and you want to know about nonprofits, please go to our website at nonprofitsfirst.org. Check out our members. And of course, our accredited organizations are those people that have demonstrated excellence in 336 different standards. So those are great places to look. But if you're just out there and you're wondering, is this a legitimate organization? GuideStar is a good place to go to see if they're filing 990s and things like that, but you're not going to be able to tell how they operate their organization. So you want to call, I always tell folks, so you want to make a donation to a charity. What's your passion? What do you like? I like animal organizations. I like health and human services. I like to see the work that people are doing, so that, solicited phone calls and things like that are I say no, pretty much for that. You want to make sure they're registered with their state. Here, it's with the Department of Agriculture through the Department of Agriculture, and it's called the Solicitations for Contributions application. So you want that number. You want to see that number on websites. You want to see that number on, thank you letters or acknowledgments or receipts. There's a lot of different ways, but I say when somebody just calls you on the phone and says, hey, will you donate to this? My answer is no. And I, of course, ask them immediately. I'm a bad person to call, right? I say,
yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's like when you're at the grocery checkout, it's like, do you want to donate $1? It might be a great cause, but I just donated $100,000. So I'm like, I don't need to donate $1. So I'm like, but I don't feel like explaining that to the lady at the checkout. So.
No, I totally get that. And I think, I encourage people to be philanthropic to the extent you can be. So if that's $1, that's great. If it's 100,000, that's even better.
Right.
But do a little research. Do a little research.
Well, what you mentioned, like some categories, whatever, it's children, animals, arts. But let's just say I'm trying to help children in South Florida, which is literally I am trying to do. How can I tell among the 100 children's nonprofits which ones are going to be the best use of my dollars?
I would, like I said, I would talk to them. I would, if I'm going to put, a fairly sizable gift towards an organization, maybe I want to talk to their executive director. Maybe I want to talk to one of their board members. But first and foremost, you want to be able to go to their website, or you also want to be able to look at, the state of Florida or the IRS and see how long have they been in existence? How many people do they serve? What does their 990 look like? That's a very telling story in a nonprofit. But I think it's also very financial, and it's what we're required to do. It's our tax return. It's our tax return. So, and it has to be made available to people if they ask for it as well. Some people post it on their website, but that it's to be made available to you. But on top of that, that doesn't really tell the story of the organization, right? We teach classes at Nonprofits First on how to use your 990 and tell a story, but it's still not the story of, how many, maybe who you've served or what they, what's the diversity look like, or how many meals. I mean, a lot of that stuff is in the 990, but it's a little bit harder to tell. So I would reach out to an organization. And I think, as much as I like to support grassroots organizations, I think they need to have been around at least a little while. But I'm also a big believer in, helping to support somebody getting started. And I have conversations like that every single day, Mike, with somebody who calls Nonprofits First and says, hey, I had this great idea. I want to start a nonprofit. And we work with another organization called Side Project, and they're a nonprofit that helps people kind of work through the checklist on that. But I do try to find out what they're trying to do, because 9 times out of 10, there's already somebody doing it.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, in my case, I'm giving away a decent amount.
You are.
Not a huge amount, but I have somebody who helps me who's really good at it, and I'm still not totally comfortable. Most people are giving away a small amount, and they're having trouble giving away a small amount. So even though it would be nice if they did the due diligence that you recommended, they're not probably going to do it. So like, let's say in your case, even though you have projects and programs, you're helping charities. So you're not really a mutual fund, but in a sense, if they gave money to you, you're helping a bunch of charities at the same time.
Absolutely, we are. We're helping. I always say, if you're not sure where you want to give, we're a good place to give, and we're a great place for people to give their time too, and their, whether they want to volunteer or their resources. If you're not sure what you want to do, we could probably help you find a good organization to donate to. We also have a website called nonprofitsfirstcares.org, and that's nonprofitscares.org, Nonprofits First Cares, where we have many nonprofits that are listing what they need on that site. So we reach out to them and say, this is a good place, and then we promote that out in the community. So they might need diapers, they might need canned goods, they might need masks, they might need, PPE stuff.
Yeah.
So
we gave a lot to the food banks in Palm Beach County and in Delaware this year as a result of COVID. Yep.
And there's a couple of them on our website. Most of them are definitely local here, because that's a local Nonprofits First Cares, but we encourage them to list anything they need, whether it's people, resources, money, stuff. So we're always a good place. If you don't know what to do, give us a call. We'll help you find the right charity, or we will encourage you to support our charity.
Absolutely. I saw this thing online that Jeff Bezos' ex-wife donated like $2 billion to food banks.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, my paltry donation to the food bank didn't seem so great anymore.
I have to tell you, Mike, every dollar counts to a nonprofit. I mean, the big ones are nice. And actually, she gave $10 million to our local United Way here in Palm Beach.
Really? Oh,
that's
awesome. That's amazing.
We got lucky. That's awesome. And so we hope, we will obviously see some of that money go to our local nonprofit organizations.
Well, that's an interesting thing. Are there so United Way is another sort of almost like a mutual fund for charities, but that's the one that gave us all a bad reputation, a huge one, like 20 years ago.
Yes, sir. I remember it well. I remember it well.
I know you do, and everybody else does, but they use that as an excuse not to help charities, what they read in the news 20 years ago from United Way. So it's
20 years ago is a really long time. I'm a second chance person, and I actually work with a nonprofit called Second Chance Rescue. I love that name.
We donated to them also.
And I just think everybody deserves a second chance, and that was 20 years ago. So,
absolutely. I agree with you. That's kind of the point is,
I
think we really just need to there's a lot of money out there and a lot of people that would like to help, but there's just bad stigma, bad training, bad education. So, I think we need to get over that. Are there other organizations like yours and like United Way in South Florida that are like meta organizations also?
You've got foundations, you've got, there's several foundations here. I don't know of another one like us in the South Florida area. We are that organization here, but there is one up in Orlando, and they have different names. This one in Orlando was associated with Rollins College. It's in Winter Park, but they do very similar work.
I think they introduced me to you in the beginning, if that's the same group. Somebody up north, I can't remember.
We, and there's one in Jacksonville too, and that we all work together, especially now, to try to identify, kind of what's happening in their community. So what's happening with the nonprofits in Jacksonville, what's happening in Orlando, what's happening in Tallahassee. There's one in Tallahassee as well that's associated with the Tallahassee State College, used to be called TCC.
My sister actually went to Rollins College.
It's a good school.
Way back.
It's a pretty town too. That's a beautiful town. Winter Park is pretty.
I've been through there once.
Right?
I take your word for it. So what's going on in the future that's going to of interest to our audience, other than dog walking and feeding?
Sorry about that. You can hear my dogs barking. It's the way of the world, right? We apologize for it, but everybody.
Oh, you don't have to apologize.
So
I wish I had my dogs.
So what's happening in the future, you said, as far as the nonprofit sector? So this has been a very interesting year. So I'll use Palm Beach County as an example, because this is an area where we have great wealth and great poverty. And there were nonprofits here that had the event season in Palm Beach County is like no other. I'm sure there's plenty that I'm not aware of, but this is a big event season. So nonprofits have not had these big events, and it's been detrimental to their financial health as organizations. So I suspect and I predict that we will see in the future more partnerships between nonprofits. Perhaps mergers and acquisitions with some nonprofits. And I'm not against that, because I came from an organization when I worked in the financial literacy space. We did about 50 mergers and acquisitions during my time there. So I'm hip to that, and there are advantages to that. And I'm not saying everybody should consider it. I just think it's something you should think about when, if you've got negative net assets in an organization and you're really struggling, you might need to look at those kind of options. And I think we'll see some of that down the road across the country.
They just fold together. Since there's no shareholders, there's no exchange of cash. They just fold their bank accounts together and their missions together.
Yep. There, one usually dissolves and the other, it is a merger or an acquisition for sure. But in the nonprofit space, it isn't. It's usually about ego with boards, to be honest with you.
Of course.
Challenge.
Always is about somebody's ego, even in the nonprofit world. Not always, but in a board of directors, there's at least one ego mixed in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there is. So that really is the only thing I have ever seen that's real challenging. And they're always worried about their employees. But, if there's I call this collaboration for a cause, and I'm actually putting a grant together to talk about and put some focus groups together with like organizations. So they would be food organizations or hunger organizations, and there would be mental health organizations and some children's organizations that have similar services, right? To kind of discuss, what does a partnership look like? I think we need to start thinking about what I call collaboration for a cause, which means we're all in this together. We're serving these constituents, dogs, arts, whatever. How do we do that more efficiently and with better oversight for our donor dollars? Because there's probably going to be less of them for a little while.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to, help you with whatever you have going on. I have Sean Randolph, who helps me on charity work on a day-to-day basis, plus all my business team, employees, associates are all engaged in our charity work, so we can all help you and help each other. We're trying to build our model of what we're doing at makechange.com, Make Change Trust. We're using South Florida as a model, so we're trying to do great work, document what we're doing here, and export our model to other communities accordingly.
So I love that model, Mike, and I've been to your website, and I think you are an amazing philanthropist. So I appreciate what you're doing in the nonprofit space. I really do.
Thank you.
And if we could work together more than just having cool conversation like we are today, I would love that. I would love that.
Well, you and I can talk more, but Sean is actually the brains behind it. He's the one that makes sure I know it. He's actually a real charity expert.
Okay. Well, he's somebody I need to talk to Sean for sure, because I would love to just even chat initially and see what's up.
Oh, definitely. And then, my whole team's into it. Sean's the real expert at it, and we're trying to build up internet stuff, meet people, create dollars, etc., and all engage in this thing. And again, Sean's documenting this model, so we're very excited and we appreciate your help. Thank you so much for coming on. Anything else you want to say before I go to my domain stuff?
No, just absolutely. Folks, reach out to our name is easy, Nonprofits First. Go to nonprofitsfirst.org if you're interested in, helping us or want to learn more about us. I would love to talk to you. And I'll have to do my emails right on the website. So reach out to me or just reach out to us.
Absolutely. And I did post some URLs, and you can post whatever you want on my social media as well.
That'd be great.
Cool. Thanks so much, Jessica. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me, and it's great to see you.
You too. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that was awesome. I'm so happy and blessed. I've done so many great live streams. I've been getting fabulous guests. And I want to thank Gianna and Sean and others for setting up my guests with me. So we're going to do live domain name appraisal training at the moment. If you guys didn't post any domains, I have my own little list here that I will do appraisals from. I'm going to share my screen with you and start the appraisal process. Okay, hopefully you guys can see my Google tab here. I'm going to pick a few names out of here. First one I have here is Over the Barrel. So we're going to research Over the Barrel. Overthebarrel.com is the name of the word. It's some sort of expression. I actually forgot what it means. I think it has something to do with like a deal, like you're threatening somebody over the barrel or something. I don't know. Over a barrel, meaning and origin. First recorded in Delaware. That's not surprising. Well, there you have it. It's recorded in Delaware. I think Joe Biden invented that expression, actually. He's got his brain over the barrel. So what does it mean? So the first thing we do is we disambiguate all the expressions and domains, which means figure out what they mean. And then we do the breadth, how many potential buyers, and the depth, who's the biggest buyer, how much might they pay. We try to base that on experience, comps, names that are similar that have sold in the past, and what the price was. There's some freaky stuff here. I don't know if you guys can see the screen. People used to be punished over a barrel. Well, there you have it. They used to whack people over a barrel. He was bound hand and foot and rolled over a barrel, placed upon a cake of ice and branded on his back. Well, that's really pleasant. So over a barrel means in trouble in modern day language, according to this. Here's where we're sharing it. And again, it also looks like it means a lot of other things. It's used for branding, orange float, ginger beer. It's the name of this company. So that's going to be the depth. These are going to be the top buyers. Google's very good at indexing the people with the most depth. It's not very good at indexing anybody else, unfortunately. So we can't tell who else would be interested in it. So we need to find out the breadth. We know what it means. We know the historical expression. It's a double entendre, certainly used for liquor and other purposes. And it has 20 million hits results in Google, which is awesome. It's huge. So we're just looking what it means. I mean, really, it's just hard to see it. There's this one brand, the depth, this one corporation seems to be overwhelming the whole thing, which is fine. So there's one company with a ton of breadth. Even if they didn't exist, it would be a great name because it has a historical meaning spelled perfectly. It's a great phrase. Phrases in .com are very popular, especially they get more popular all the time. People realize that a phrase is very powerful as opposed to a one-word domain. So what's the value of overthebarrel.com is what we're getting at here. The BAR. Well, what's that thing worth? It has only a little bit of breadth, but it's still really cool. And despite this one company, there's other companies that could and would use it, and they probably do if I could see them. And I have a bunch of other tools that I usually use, but I don't have them in front of me. So in this case, overthebarrel.com is worth $40,000. Ask me why later if you don't get it. Bam. Okay, thanks. So let's see what else is going on here. We have Otar gave me commercial bins. Well, Thomas gave me fun haul. Okay, good. You guys put a few in here. Jetpack for sale. Well, Don, I can tell you that's not worth anything. So that's a 0. Funhaul.co is a 0. Funhaul.com might be worth something. So I'm going to try funhaul.com with Thomas. Not to be confused with fun haul, H-A-L-L. This is like hauling a load of something, as opposed to a fun haul where you play and party, whatever. Fun house, fun haul. 16,000 hits, not very great. It's not very much. It doesn't really actually mean anything. There's no hits on it, so there's nothing going up. Here, this means something. Fun haul and opening, but it's just too slim. So again, what does it mean? Nothing. The breadth is none and the depth is none. So it's basically worth nothing, although it's a little bit cute sounding. So gets $500 for sounding cute. Okay, the next one is inthegarden.com by Ryder. So again, we're going to do the, what does it mean? We know what it means. I'm sure it's a double entendre in many respects. Looks like this dude, Alan Jackson, has a popular song, which is relatively meaningless. So I'm going to get rid of it so it doesn't clutter my other results. It has value as a result, but I don't want it to clutter the other results. So I'm taking this one into account and then getting rid of it so it doesn't clutter my stuff. Getting rid of Alan Jackson, you know. Things related to that. Okay, so we'll get rid of Alan Jackson out of there. So it still has 237 million hits. So fabulous domain. We can tell right off the bat. We know what it means. It's another phrase expression like the last one I did. Phrases are very popular as long as they're meaningful and spelled right. And so we know what it means. The breadth, again, it's a double entendre, but plus, you know, it means something as far as books, maybe, documentaries, maybe, who the hell knows it, you know, landscaping, et cetera, et cetera. There's usually other words in front of it, which is actually bad for the expression. Out in the garden, body in the garden. But this one starts with in the garden. So in the Garden of Spite, they would need that domain name if it was a movie, for example. So the breadth is not that great. Cool expression, but not a lot of breadth. Although it does have a huge amount of results. So I have to look a little deeper here. We know it's a song. We already knew that, the Alan Jackson song. Seems to mean like the Garden of Eden also, so it has religious context. Death in the garden, that's just not right because it's not an exact match. Chef in the garden. There's a lot of inexact matches that I can't subtract out because there's too many of them. I got rid of the song one, which has value, but I got rid of it so I could see what's going on. So we know what it means. The breadth is medium-ish. The depth is pretty solid. In the garden, $10,000. What else did you guys do? Hi, Britt. Thank you, Rob, everybody, whoever's in there. I'm going to see what else you guys put. I have another list. I'll do like 3 or 4 more, and everybody's going to the beach except for it's freezing. So we're going to get pizza. Did we do fun haul? Yeah, we did fun haul. Commercial bins I still have to do. So we're doing commercial bins. $62,000 results. Kind of good, medium. And commercial bins are these things. That's cool. So they're like trash cans. I didn't actually know that. I didn't know what the hell commercial bins were. I mean, we do bin domain pricing. Buy it now. Bin. I invented it. I didn't invent the word bin. I invented buying domains on the spot. Premium, super premium domains, not domain registration. So bins are pretty cool, actually. Commercial bins. Hey. So this is, again, an excellent example of domain investing. In this case, it doesn't sound very exciting, which means there probably wasn't a lot of buyers for it. There probably wasn't a high bid on the auction, most likely. I have no idea how much he paid for it. Doesn't really matter, but just for argument's sake, let's say you could buy it on an auction for $100 or $200, whatever. Now we're going to do the appraisal to see what it's really worth. Again, it might take a long time to sell it, but you know, that's the nature of any illiquid market. This is an illiquid market. So it takes a long time to sell usually, not always. You can mess with the price to make it sell slower or quicker if you want to. So we know what it means. It has a good amount of depth because every one of these companies sells those things. I mean, breadth. And the depth is some of these companies have a ton of money. So again, this is an example of a domain that might have costed very little and might be worth a lot. So a good domain investment. It's just not a lot of results, but there are a lot of commercial bins, and it is the exact expression they used on all those things. So I find it pretty valuable. Although it's a little bit long, there's other ways of saying it. Obviously, trash cans is 1,000 times better and worth 1,000 times more. But we do have to pick a price for this. I'm thinking like this one's a good $10,000, you know. There's a ton of commercial bins. They could probably sell one order for $10,000 and then keep the name for free forever. So that's another awesome one. So good job, guys. You guys are good investors. Mark wants labor.com. Mark goes for the big dollar ones, you know, which are also actually kind of impossible to appraise without more information, more time. But in any case, I'll try to undo labor. Keep in mind it's O-U-R, it's the British spelling, so it should be labor.co.uk. Probably same in Canada.ca, but it's not spelled like this in America, but it's still a cool name. Obviously, labor is L-A-B-O-R. This is L-A-B-O-U-R. Mark's a British chap, but he's trading in .com in this case. Thank God he's trading in .com because he often trades in weird stuff. We're going to encourage him to stick with .com and play by the proper etiquette. So again, this is the Labour Party of England, which we sort of knew, and it means labor in, you know, the Queen's English. So it's really the Labour Party is what it's all about. You know, they don't really have that party in America, and if they did, it would be spelled differently. So it's conceptually worth a ton. On the other hand, it gets a massive discount. There's almost no use of it in the United States, which in many cases, a foreign expression is still used in the United States in some cases. See, it is used in Canada, as I mentioned. There's Rhino Labor, L-A-B-O-U-R, but they were using a .com, which is good because they might want this .com. Ministry in India uses that. So again, like most of the world uses that spelling. So that's actually extraordinarily valuable to know. I didn't realize that. So it's just a great, great name, very short. It's easy to spell as long as you know that you're not using the American English version. Again, there's no way to figure out the exact value. I need some more data, like the traffic and, you know, what offers have come in, for example, to give a proper thing. But regardless of that, it's a great name, and Mark's a cool dude. So we're going to give him an appraisal. He owes me a fortune, of course. Sendfunds.com. Okay, I'll do that one. But labor.com is worth $1 million. Oops. This link goes against our community standards. What freaking idiots. Freaking community standards of morons. How's it possible that me pricing this domain goes against their community standards? Unbelievable. Freaking, unless Mark had porn on there, I don't know. Kidding. So that's an awesome name. Got a couple more on my list here that you guys provided. You guys are confusing me though, because I saw some that got lost in this list here, assuming nobody deleted anything. So the next one is the one that I said I was going to do a few minutes ago, sendfunds.com. That's cool. Nowadays, there's all these apps for sending funds, so it's good timing. So 478,000 results, that's solid. That's a high medium. Over 1 million is high. 20,000 is low medium. 2,000 is too low to be relevant. Send money, MoneyGram. There you go. That's a mega $1 million company. How to send money, JPay. So send money's in the money. Sendfunds.com. Well, the synonym is send money. Which it's interesting. I'm going to actually move the word money so I don't get confused again. So 379,000 results. How do I send funds? Send funds, send funds. And send money is a much better word. Send cash, send funds, send dollars. So you have that problem is each of those other conceptual expressions dilutes this one. Not to mention, you don't need the word send, just paymoney.com, whatever. So there's just lots of ways of saying this expression, but it's a cool expression, but it's too dilutive. It has a lot of results, but not a huge amount. They're not really proper nouns. They're not brand names. We don't have any brand name called Send Funds. It's not on the side of any trucks or business cards. But it is very meaningful in the age of, Venmo and these other guys. And even, Bitcoin's actually sending funds also. So Send Funds has a lot of meaning. So we know what it means for sure. The breadth, there's a lot of potential people, but there's not a lot of depth. So take all that into account. What it means is very valuable conceptually, but it's diluted by the number of different ways of conceptually saying the same thing. It's worth 5,000. Why don't we say 7,000? It is a really good name, and it needs a further research is the correct answer, but we're going with 7,000. Okay, we're going to do one more, and then you guys are off the hook and do something productive with your day, like you're doing now. We have Tickets Fixer. Well, Tickets Fixer isn't so great. We're going to try Ticket Fixer, even though you don't own that domain. At least we can praise it. This is appraisal training. I'm not trying to give you guys free appraisals. I'm trying to appraise them. I'm trying to train you how to do it yourself. So Tickets Fixer is probably worth nothing, but Ticket Fixer is serious business. And this is going to be the last one I do for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me and helping me out here. This is fun. And Jessica was a fabulous guest. We're going to save all this on YouTube to watch later on. So Ticket Fixer, we know what it means. I think it's a lawyer or person who knows the judge. So that's what it means. The breadth is there's a lot of frickin' lawyers that are bottom feeders. Is there any other ways of saying it? Ticket lawyer, ticket lawyers, ticket attorney, ticket attorneys, fixyourticket.com, fix tickets. Too many other ways of saying it. Also, anything that has negative connotation should be discounted. This has a negative connotation. It should be discounted. It also only has 4,300 results, which isn't very much at all. But as far as the depth goes, there's a lot of people actually using that expression right now. This New York ticket fixer's using it. This dude's using ticket reducer. Ticket fixer sounds better. Mr. Ticket Fixer. So Casey Ticket Fixer. So the correct answer is that it actually has a lot of depth. It doesn't have a lot of breadth. It's not a great expression, but it's cool. We know what it means. It has a bit of breadth and a decent amount of depth, actually. So again, I think we're just still trapped in this like $10,000 range today on everything. This isn't even the name he owns, but that's one way appraised. Ticketfixer.com. Tickets Fixer is worth nothing, I don't think. It's just not the way people talk. It's not an exact match. Ticketfixer.com. So it's a lawyer. They charge a freaking fortune. So we're gonna have to go with $10,000. And again, in the real world, you have to discount these things to pay your bills. It's worth $10,000, but if people pay you $0, it won't pay your bills. So it doesn't necessarily matter. In a highly traded liquid market, you would actually have price discovery every day through the trading price discovery mechanism. We don't have that here because it's extraordinarily thinly traded market, but I can go with the meaning to a company, the value to a company, and historical precedent of comps. Even though there aren't enough comps, there are some. And obviously I know what I'm doing here. So in any case, you guys are awesome. And that is the end of our program. Thank you so much for joining me. Watch our past broadcasts. Our next broadcasts are great as Tom Beal, who's a famous internet sensation, and Michael Birkins after that, who's by far one of the top domainers in the world, in the top 5 in the world, hopefully with myself and Rick Schwartz and Frank Schilling, Kevin Ham, Yun Yi, and the rest of my boys who've already been on here, Braden, Chad, whoever. So thanks again. Have a great day. I'll see you at the beach. Peace out.